Zephanius's parish, if one could ignore its opulence, was bedecked with a lavish ivory marble exterior. It was a tall Gothic structure built into the side of a grand cathedral, flaunting the wealth of the ecclesiarchy. Chaplain Exantis stared out the tall arched windows of its great hall, overlooking the temple courts where a congregation of the masses had gathered, young and old, just to be in the presence of the angels.
How long have you been Archbishop here?
Exantis turned to Zephanius, who approached from behind him.
20 years, my lord.
That is commendable.
Thank you. It honors me that another person of faith would speak that of me.
Tell me, what compelled you to take up the cloth?
Well, that is a long story, my lord. But suffice to say, I wish to exhort humanity to step out of the darkness they had so easily entrapped themselves in, and to lay hold of humanity's dominion over the galaxy.
Have the people here laid claim to that dominion?
Most assuredly, this was once a lawless haven for smugglers and heretics. But since my mission here, those decades ago, Sheol has become a shining beacon of faith for all those who sail the void. A bastion of humanity amidst the darkness.
The Archbishop began to ramble on. Though the zeal in his voice was unmistakable, Chaplain Exantis felt uncomfortable with his descriptions. It bore a hint of ignorance veiled in flowery language. Exantis had seen too much in his time to ignore such signs. He would have his answers as soon as Michal reported in. In the chill of this rainy night cycle, Michal uttered a prayer before a small statue of the god Emperor. It was situated in a small chapel, hidden in an alcove of a secluded alleyway, in the slums of Hab Sector Gamma Pi. It was no grand sculpture, just a humble effigy on a modest altar crafted by destitute hands in honor of their spiritual liege. His investigation had brought him here, and he was mentally exhausted from dealing with a new environment. He required spiritual refreshment. Michal gave thanks to the Emperor for the holy honor of serving the Black Templars, though the memory of failing his Astartes trials still stung deeply even after all these years. He was so close, yet his own weak frame fell just short of the standards. A failure was a failure, but Michal gave thanks again that he was given a chance to serve as a Chapter Serf. For years, he served faithfully despite the lowly station of his duties. And now, after 20 years, here he was, Master of Whispers to Lord Chaplain Exantis on board the Hierophant of Repentance. Michal bowed his head and got up to leave. The attending priest waved at him.
Go in peace, my child.
As he approached the double doors leading out, a woman in a tattered cloak sheepishly shuffled into the sanctuary. She brushed past Michal in a hurry. From the altar, he heard the priest get up, pointing an accusing finger at her.
Begone, whore! You are not welcome here.
Please, Your Grace, I only require
Your
shelter.
profanity has tainted this holy ground. Leave now, or I will evict you.
Michal felt a stinging sensation in his heart. The woman noticed Michal staring at her, and she grabbed a hold of his arm.
See, she latches on like a leech to anyone she finds.
Why has the Church forsaken me, Your Grace? Have you forgotten all that my family has done for the faithful?
You've tarnished your own legacy by your own actions. Piety has no room for liars or adulterers.
She clearly needs help. Shouldn't you be assisting her?
And stumble the rest of the flock? Absolutely not.
You have to help me, good sir. My husband served faithfully as an armsman aboard this station for many years.
She continues to prove my case. Now she taints Brother Zarek's name with her prattling.
He was on sentry duty last night, before the storm hit, when he was killed by the Aluka.
Michal shot her a puzzled glance. He had heard this name whispered along the way here, from strangers warning him of that which lurks in the night. Suddenly there was a howl out in the distance. Then came another, and another. The artificial fog that had settled in obscured the shanty town outside from view. Michal could not see what was making those noises. The mortified woman cried. She pushed Michal back into the sanctuary and pushed the heavy wooden doors shut.
What manner of evil have you brought with you?
Put out the lights.
She ran to the altar, snuffing out the candles.
What are you doing?
The priest marched over to her. Just then, there was a thud. Something had jumped onto the roof of the chapel. The trio froze, huddled tightly in a circle. From under his cloak, Michal drew his pistol and short sword. The pattering on the roof became frantic, the beast frustrated, having found no entryway in. There came a loud rapping at the door. A second beast attempted to ram the door in, to no avail. Suddenly, a loud metal crash came from behind them as a sewer grate sprung open. Michal instinctively turned and fired upon the third beast, his shots ricocheting off its chitin. It lunged at him with incredible speed, its tendrils slashing him across his chest, the force hurling him into the altar. Just then, the roof windows shattered as the other two beasts crashed into the sanctuary. Michal winced in pain, finding a gash across his abdomen. But even through blood-soaked eyes, he could see the features of the Aluka clearly, and it horrified him. One of the Aluka saw the woman and the priest scramble out the back door to the chapel. Before it could pursue them, 3 shots from Michal's pistol caught its attention. The Chapter Serf got to his feet with whatever strength he had left. As the 3 beasts closed in on him, he fired the remaining rounds and leapt out the window. With all his might, he began running through the shanty town, his wound threatening to immobilize him. Drops of blood drizzled onto the cold ground as he ran for his life. In his hand, he held a palm-sized silver device with a red button atop it. He clicked its activation rune.
As I was saying, my lords, you may remain on Sheol as long as you like.
Zephanius' words were cut off by alert klaxons within Exantis' helm. The other sword brethren heard it over their voxnet too. He inclined to see the others staring at him.
Auxiliary distress beacon,
Cedric announced over the channel.
it's Michal.
Diedrich replied.
What trouble has he gotten into now?
Greston snarked.
This is unusual. He would never activate it without good reason.
Archbishop Zephanius noticed the Templars weren't paying any attention to him. He stopped mid-sentence and turned to them.
My lords, were you listening?
Exantis stood silent.
Send a kill team. Reconnaissance in force. Alert level 2. Expect hostile contact.
He barked.
Understood, Lord Chaplain.
Cedric answered.
Squad Lothair is en route.
Archbishop,
Exantis' tone had turned serious, catching the minister off guard.
you claimed this station was a bastion of humanity, but now you will tell me the truth.
Brother Cedric, blood trail discovered.
Understood. Continue the search. Find our Master of Whispers.
Understood.
Welcome to the first game of this narrative campaign. Squad Lothair has traveled to Hab Sector Gamma Pi to locate Michal, Master of Whispers, and retrieve valuable intelligence on the threat that the Templars face on the Void Station. As befitting this discreet shadow operation, the first game will be a kill team game, using the close quarters into the dark rules. Little is known of the threat the Templars face, and so they have dispatched a Phobos Strike Team to perform reconnaissance and retrieval. The strike team is led by an Infiltrator Sergeant, Brother Lothair, who bears the rare rank of Brother Sergeant within the Black Templars, owing to his many long years of service and expertise in the art of reconnaissance. His second-in-command is Brother Ulrund, an Infiltrator veteran with a custom bolt carbine. He has modified his weapon for the lethal 5+ and balanced special rules. Brother Arnold is an Infiltrator Commsman, serving as Sergeant Lothair's strategic nexus. Then we have Brother Voynus, an Infiltrator Helix Adept. His duty is to provide his brothers with critical medical care on their long and perilous missions behind enemy lines. Brother Signar is the Incursor Marksman of the squad. With the track target action, he provides overwatch as his brothers advance. Finally, there is Brother Velmar, the Incursor Mine Layer. To suit the narrative, we will be playing a custom mission where there is only one objective: Locate and retrieve Michal, the Master of Whispers. The board is larger than usual and is set up to represent the cramped confines of the Hab sector. The Phobos Strike Team will participate in the infiltration phase as they delve into the unknown, having no intel on the enemy that they face. The entire squad has chosen to stay in the concealed order, with only the Infiltrator veteran being on engage. With deployment done, the strike team will execute their first infiltration phase and investigate a pool of blood they discovered earlier.
Moving to cover! Stay at the ready. To the pipe, go! Remain at guard positions, brothers. Moving out.
At the end of Infiltration Phase 1, the squad moves up cautiously, watching every corner for movement. The Helix Adept moves up and investigates the blood trail. Their samples retrieved are identical to the Master of Whispers, indicating that he is indeed close by. Pistol shell casings lie near the blood pool. The metal nearby is dented, which could only have been done if bullets ricocheted off armor. Strange insectoid fleshy bits littered the ground as well. Perhaps the threat hunting Michal is not human after all. And so begins the start of Infiltration Phase 2.
On guard. Moving to cover.
As the Incursor marksman moves up, his multispectrum array picks up a faint signal of a life form moving behind the wall. With combat hand signals, he calls the rest of his squad to move up to his position.
Hold position, Overwatch.
Movement!
What foe are we dealing with?
I do not wish to jump to conclusions. We'll report once we have undeniable confirmation.
Understood, Brother Lothair.
The squad moves into breaching position, with most members being on the engage order. Tension is high, as each warrior expects contact very soon. The squad stacks up and prepares to open the door on the next turning point, allowing them to preserve their activations if they trigger the enemy and start the firefight phase.
Contact! Tyranids!
What? Lord Exantis, we have a grave situation.
The identity of the threat has finally been unveiled. The strike team has discovered a Tyranid brood of termagants in the Hab sector. While not a threat individually, they can easily swarm and overwhelm the strike team if they are not careful. Why are there Tyranids aboard the station? And how did they get here? And are there any other Tyranids present? These are mysteries that will have to be solved later. For now, the mission to rescue Michal still stands, and the strike team must now fight through the Tyranids in order to find and rescue him. This is no simple threat that they face, and could easily spiral out of control. Sergeant Lothair takes the initiative and charges the Termagant to lock it in combat.
Foul beast! The Xenos will find that wall to be poor shelter! Cut down the aliens! Will go unanswered. The enemy wishes to fight, brothers. Let us indulge them.
The cunning creature senses its prey will come down the hallway and sets an ambush for it.
Around the wall, stop the tyrannies! Enemy contact! Turn the guns! May all Tyranids join you in death.
No servant of the Emperor shall fall if I can help it.
Ready to deploy!
Attack!
Termagants, beware return fire! Around the wall, stop the tyrannies! Ambush! Get your cover! Rain fire upon us and we shall return it! Another Xenos horror killed. Eyes open. Right flank!
Turning Point 1 showcases the swift assault tactics of the Space Marines, as they are able to take down 6 of the 8 Termagants. But the strike team is still cautious, for they know that when you destroy one Tyranid, 10 more will rise to take its place. Gaining control over the battlefield, they train their bolters towards the dark corners, expecting the rest of the swarm to show themselves shortly. Though some of them have taken a few injuries, none of them are life-threatening. They are keenly aware that Tyranid attacks are unrelenting. If they take too much damage dealing with the Tyranids, the chances of them getting overwhelmed are extremely high, and so they must remain cautious for the rest of the battle, until they are able to complete their objectives and egress. As Turning Point 2 begins, they hear scuttling from the pipes above.
Movement!
Shots ring out from inside one of the Hive units. It seems Michal has been located. but they need to make visual contact before they can confirm their suspicions. From the shadows, 2 more termagants descend onto the battlefield. The termagant opens the hatch and lines a shot onto the veteran, but quickly realizes it has made an error in judgment, as both it and its kin's weapons are out of range, with flesh borers being only able to shoot 6 inches.
Who requires my aid?
Stimulants deployed.
Capitalizing on their range strength, the Helix Adept moves up to heal his brother, and then lines a shot onto the termagant that just opened the hatch.
Enemy assault! Charge! Death to the enemy! Remain at guard positions, brothers. Making for the wall! Allied units at my position. Claim them before the enemy does.
Brother Cedric, we have found the Master of Whispers. He is in grave condition. We will stabilize him, but he requires greater medical attention.
Brother Lothair, this is Chaplain Exantis. Move Michal back to the Archbishop's parish. An apothecary will be on standby.
Understood, Lord Chaplain.
The strike team has located the Master of Whispers. They have also successfully eliminated all but one of the Tyranids in the area. One of the Space Marines must now use the pickup action on Michal in order to retrieve his injured body. They must then bring Michal back to their deployment zone in order to successfully extract him. Expecting further contact, the Phobos Strike Team uses the strategic ploy Alter Discipline to allow them to do 2 shoot actions. At such long distances, their bolter's range gives them the advantage over the Tyranids, and so it would be prudent for them to use shooting to keep the Tyranids at bay. And so begins the 3rd turning point. Two more termagants appear. It seems the Tyranids here are not isolated creatures, but simply part of a larger swarm. This revelation brings Sergeant Lothair much concern.
Holy Emperor, what is that foul beast?
Something howls from within the darkness. The Aluka finally shows itself. It is a Von Ryan's Leaper, with 3 action points and a ferocious melee profile. It is a fearsome close combat creature that is a match for any Space Marine. Its lightning reflexes gives it a 5+ invulnerable save, but more importantly, it gets to resolve an additional hit dice before any opponent does. The Space Marines would be wise to keep their distance.
Enemy contact! Tyranids! No! You will pay dearly for my brother's life! Alien fiends!
Driven to a killing frenzy, the Termagant moves up and prepares to attack the Helix Adept on the next turn. The ambush by the Leapers has brought down a battle brother. Now Brother Lothair must retrieve both Michal and Brother Signar's body. The swarm closes in around the Helix Adept, and so he decides to take 2 shoot actions against both Tyranids in front of him.
We are the bringers of death! No mercy, no respite! Your duty is not done, brother!
At the end of turning point 3, the strike team has taken its first casualty. Michal still lies dying, and the rest of the strike team is spread out. With various injuries, they will need to close ranks if they are to escape. For this custom mission, the game does not end after turning point 4. It will continue until the Space Marines retrieve Michal, or until the swarm decides to stop attacking them. The strike team once again uses Bolter Discipline, for they are no match in close combat against Von Ryan Leapers.
Enemy contact! A fine welcome for us, brothers!
More Tyranid reinforcements arrive. The swarm seems endless, with the single-minded purpose of stopping the strike team. Although having much success so far, the strike team knows that they need to egress very soon, before they are overwhelmed. Brother Vornus realizes he's too far away from the squad. With injured brothers and a dying Master of Whispers, he decides to close with Sergeant Lothair and provide him support.
On guard.
He is keenly aware of the Von Ryan's Leaper and trains his bolter towards the door, waiting for the beast to come charging out. The Tyranids notice this. The Tyranids have not taken the bait, so Brother Arnold decides to move up and take a shot.
Destroy them! Brothers, push them back! Termagants, exterminate them! Offer them no easy targets! Emperor's wrath!
Turning Point 4 was relatively uneventful, with both sides taking wounds on various operatives, while also jockeying for position and setting up attacks for the next turn. The battle is not going in the Tyranids' favor, as they are losing operatives very quickly. Sergeant Lothair has retrieved Michal, who is still bleeding out from his injuries. If the Helix Adept can reach him in time, he can stabilize his injuries. With the battle drawing to a close, the Space Marines do not use any strategic ploys. The 5th battle round begins, and it looks to be a decisive turn.
They shoot us in the back!
Sergeant Lothair sets Michal's body in front of the Helix Adept, preparing to do battlefield triage. Sensing prey, a termagant moves up to attack. But Sergeant Lothair spots it.
No servant of the Emperor shall fall if I can help it.
Brother Vornus tends to the wounds of both Sergeant Lothair and Michal. The Leaper cautiously moves behind cover, knowing one wrong move means its death.
No mercy, no respite! Purge the enemy!
At this point, the Tyranids suddenly retreat. From the depths of the Hab sector, the squad can hear a chittering mass of creatures approaching. An even greater swarm descends upon the squad. It seems a greater intelligence has decided this firefight has been lost, and has summoned an overwhelming horde to overwhelm the squad. The Space Marines clean up whatever termagants are left, and prepare to rapidly exfiltrate. There is no time for respite. They must move now or risk being completely overwhelmed by the incoming horde.
Tyranids are firing! Eyes right! Right side! Right side!
Brother Cedric, Squad Lothair is aggressing from the sector. Tyranids are swarming from every corner.
Fighting retreat, brother. Rally at the Elira market.
Understood.
Brother Cedric turns and marches back towards Chaplain Exantis. A cold tension hangs over the Grand Hall as the hulking Terminator-armored chaplain towers over the Archbishop, whose regal throne suddenly feels so minuscule compared to the giant before it. A trembling hand clasps a goblet of water with apprehension and takes a clumsy sip. Sweat pours from Zephanius's brow. Yet Chaplain Exantis gave no respite to the Archbishop.
My patience runs thin, Archbishop. Answer my question. How is it that you have no knowledge of Xenos aboard your station?
Zephanius stuttered, trying to form a coherent answer.
The congregation didn't think to communicate with us.
Didn't communicate? Did it never occur to investigate the widespread rumors of monsters in the shadows? At least verify their claims?
Superstition is no basis for action. That sector is a den of crime, and we trust the local guild to handle things there.
We arrive back at my question. Why did they not report Xeno sightings to you?
What else would you have me do?
Enough! Declare martial law. My brothers and I will get to the bottom of this.
Respectfully, you have no jurisdiction here. This station is sovereign Adeptus Ministorum territory. The Adeptus Astartes have no right to demand such a thing.
My Master of Whispers is dying because of your negligence. He risked his life to unveil what you could not, and now you refuse to even act?
You know nothing about governance! Drastic measures such as those will only serve to sow discord among the faithful. It would destroy the unity we worked so hard to build.
Suddenly the hall's double doors fly open.
Lord Chaplain, Archbishop.
Exclaimed Greston.
Tyranids have begun a full-scale assault across the station. A swarm is headed to the Elira market. It's on a direct course for this parish.
The servants in the room gasped. A maidservant began breaking down in tears, realizing her family dwelling was in the midst of the attack. Exantis marched resolutely towards the exit as the ground shook from the weight of his Terminator armor and the righteous fury which now burned in his heart.
Unity be damned, Archbishop. You have a war on your hands.
The chaplain turned to Brother Cedric.
Deploy the fighting company, defend the population centers as best we can, and get an apothecary down to the Elira market to retrieve Squad Lothair.
Yes, my lord. The Sword Brethren will see to it personally.
The Space Marines storm out of the chamber in under a minute, leaving Zephanius dumbfounded, his servants looking to him for instructions. Yet he issued no orders for several seconds as he slumped back into his throne. Sweat poured from his brow. Finally, he waved over to a noble.
Governor, see to the evacuation of the people. Get them to the shelters. Seneschal, make room in the parish for those fleeing the Elira market.
Yes, Your Grace.
Friar Lawrence!
Zephanius waves another priest to his side. He motions for him to lean closer and whispers into his ear.
That was too close. What are the guild doing? They were supposed to have everything under control.
Apologies, Your Grace. Sir Mardukov has stopped responding to us.
And you're only telling me this now?
I dared not bring it up in front of the angels.
You fool! We could have paid him extra, anything he wants. But since he's no longer interested, cancel our usual arrangements.
Zephanius struggles to stand to his feet. His trembling hand betrays his emotions. He hides it in his robe, lest the servants perceive his weakness.
We have no choice. Burn it all. Not one record is to remain, but do it quietly. Hurry!
Yes, Your Grace.
The friar scurries away, taking several servants with him. He grabs a book off the shelf. With a click, the furniture rotates, revealing a hidden passageway. Into the darkness, they retreat. Zephanius takes a sip from his goblet and heaves a disgruntled sigh. He hobbles towards the grand window overlooking the parish grounds. He could hear the sounds of screaming from the Elira market now. Zephanius clenches his teeth and curls his fingers into a fist as the snap of bolter fire breaks the sound of his dying congregation.
Well, that's the end of the first episode of Shadows Born of Light. Thanks for watching, and if you're still sticking around, here are just some closing thoughts from me about making this whole series. First off, I apologize to all the Kill Team players, cause after editing the video I realized I made quite a few mistakes with regards to the rules for the Infiltrator Commsman. Upon looking back at the rules, I realized that the action should be taken immediately, and you cannot do a move action as part of it. So that's my bad. Also, I honestly have no idea how to play the Hive Fleet Kill Team. My experience playing the game has been with Blooded, Intercessors, and actually that's about it. I haven't gotten the hang of Kill Team yet, so I wasn't really sure how to pilot the Tyranid Kill Team. But since it's a narrative game, I felt like I should do more. I felt like I should play the Tyranids a little bit more feral. Especially since at the end and in the next episode you will find out exactly why they are smarter than they seem. For the next few games, it'll be back to normal 40k in boarding actions. I'm not sure if I will do another Kill Team game, just because it takes quite a long time to edit as well, since you can see how much sound effects I add in and how much graphics I put in. So I don't know actually. This is the first time I'm doing battle reports. It's one thing to see other people do it, but when you actually try it for yourself, there's a lot of things that need to be adapted for the way that you do things. So actually doing it for myself was a lot more difficult than I thought it was, but it was still a fun process. And as with all things in life, you can only learn by continuing doing it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say for the gameplay side. For the story side, you may notice I have been using a lot of AI voices for most of the characters. Now I know there's some controversy about using AI voices to do videos, and for me when I wrote my script, I actually did not plan for AI voice to be part of it. But since this whole channel is run by me and me alone, other than working together with another friend to film, voice acting is not our specialty. I didn't want to narrate the story sections with my own voice. To be honest, I actually hate the sound of my own voice. I don't like listening to it being played back over speakers. I don't know, it just sounds really weird to me. When I'm talking normally, it's still okay, but once I record it and play it back, it just feels quite strange to me. I'm not really sure how to describe it other than I really hate hearing my voice. And personally, I don't think this voice does the narrative any service. So that is why I resorted to using AI for it. As for the characters, again, I don't want to use my real voice. But after doing some editing on this whole series for a while, I'm actually a little bit against AI voices. They just don't bring enough depth and emotion to the characters. Especially when it comes to very emotive arguments or parts where the characters will talk really personally. For example, the whole exchange between Exantis and Zephanius. I felt like a real voice actor would have brought so much more to the dialogue that I've written. I come from a film background and I was primarily an editor, but I've also really enjoyed doing the writing side, specifically when it comes to dialogue and the subtext behind it. I really enjoy it. So when I was writing the dialogue for this series, I was doing a lot of thinking about subtext when it comes to the words the characters say and the way that they say it. I keep referring back to a whole character sheet to make sure that the way they talk aligns with their character so that I don't run into the problem of every character sounds the same. But all that to say is I think a real voice actor would have seen my character sheets, read the dialogue, and understood what the character was trying to do, and they can bring so much more nuance than what is available from the AI voices. With the software that I use, you really have to do a lot of tweaking to get it to sound the way you want it to, and sometimes it just goes completely off. Whereas a real voice actor would be able to get it the moment you sit down with them and have a talk through of who the characters are and do a run through of the script. So in the future, I'm planning to hire actual voice actors. I know a few friends who do voice acting around me, but it's part of my personal honor that if I get them on board for this series, I will pay them to respect their craft. But for now, that's a little bit out of my means. I do not have the personal finances to hire them yet. But for future series, I definitely will. because I think it's a really fun process of getting to know the actors and getting them to know the characters and bring forth their own interpretation of who they are. So for now, the rest of the series will have to be done by AI voice actors, because unfortunately it's still just me doing this entire series. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and see you in the next episode.